Peace and light, peace and love. Thank you for connecting with the Sirius Cypher. I am Shakesha. And so far right now, we got Goddess Rah in the house on the Cypher. What's going on, lady?
Everything is going on. How are you?
Oh, I am working it out. This energy has been up and down for me. That's how it's.
Right. I felt that last Thursday. That's why I didn't tap in last Thursday. I was just chilling.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, some days I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, but I'm working it out and doing what it do. So I just wanted to check in and see just like how you have been navigating the week. You get any awesome dreams, downloads, any of that shit's been going on for you this week?
Oh my God, dreams. I had the wildest dream the
Mm.
other night.
Oh wow.
Well,
Okay.
now that you mention it, I did. I had a wild dream.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I can't quite recall the beginning.
Okay.
I know I was just kind of flying around and I was flying, and then I see this man comes out of the cloud,
Mm.
and he has this big machine. It was like a big machine gun, and he starts shooting. So I start to go down towards Earth,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
I know I felt that I got shot in the back of the head because my head started to feel a little numb, but it
Mm.
went away. It went away real quick. And when I look up, and I just see a lot of look like men, and they
Mm.
had guns, like shotguns up. They were like coming up from the clouds, and they were shooting down to Earth. And once I got down, it felt like I was in this. I felt like I was in a bubble, but I was saying that I was in a spaceship, and I had like a crew with me,
Mm.
and we were like surrounded and protected. So and we was just rushing through, and it was like police lights and blue lights flashing and people directing, and some people were rushing through and other people were getting shot. And my crew and I, we just rushed through. We were in our bubbles or spaceships, and I just said, make us invisible. So we were invisible, and we just rushing through, and I see this alley, and we go down this alley. Well, first, okay, rewind. First, before we got to the alley, there were a few other people. It was just a lot of people. We were just rushing through. I'm not sure what was really going on. But we were just rushing through, getting away from whatever was going on with the
Mm.
shooting and the lights and the everything. And we're rushing through. And my past few dreams, I've been traveling with a little boy and a little girl. I see the little girl all the time, but the little boy, he's kind of there but not there. But it's like they're my children, but they're not my children. So I'm
Mm.
still figuring that part out. So
Awesome.
um, we're rushing through this crowd, and I started noticing that I'm being disconnected from the children and the other people with me. And this lady, she was like, she comes through and she's like, see, even when you think you're disconnected, the Mother Earth always reconnects you with your crew. So we were back connected. So I'm like, okay. And then I see this alleyway. So I was like, let's go through here. We started going down the alleyway, and I started seeing houses, and I recognized a house. It's like I think we started from this house. So we went back to that house, and we're sitting here. It's like a lot of ladies and everything there. And we was just sitting around, and I thought about it. I started checking the children. I'm like, where are our cell phones? Then
Mm.
I remembered that right before I saw, I came out of the cloud from the beginning. I remember the cell phones, the bag that I had, everything just disappeared. And
Mm.
I remembered that when I started checking to, our pockets and things, looking for cell phones, but they weren't there. So I was like, how am I going to connect with anybody or tell them anything of what's going on? And I woke up. I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world was that? It was wild,
That's
really wild.
wow, that is gangster. What do you think those dreams were trying to say to you?
Girl. Mm. I'm still processing it, I'm still
Yeah,
processing.
dang, that's gangster, and I've been having a lot of similar dreams where I'm whipping out the phones and shit like that, and that's typically hasn't been happening, so that's gangster. Peace, Brother Dante, in the house right there. See you in there. Go ahead, get situated. We just doing a
All
quick
right.
check-in. How is it? How's everything going for you over there?
Oh, it's going good.
Uh,
How's it going for y'all too?
hey,
Excellent. Hey, Dante, how are you, sir?
I'm nice, ma'am. I'm nice.
is it still storming over there on your side of the country?
Oh no, it had it. Well, in this city, I can speak for this city. It been stopped storming probably like 2.5 weeks ago. So it's coming on and off. But the main thing it was doing was just being cold, like extra cold. Very cold. Unbelievably cold. You know how you know your city because you've been
Right.
around and all that. Like it's never been this cold for this long. I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants and 2 hoodies. I'm doing stuff like that. So whether it's
Wow.
it's not normal or it's not what we used to, but nonetheless, you know, yesterday and today it actually heated up. I'm gonna just say I absolutely put the intention. I put the intention out there. I'm not gonna say it's me, but I
Hey,
put the intention for the weather to warm up. I definitely put it out there, and it definitely did it. So
well,
I don't, I
you
don't,
know
I
that
don't,
magic.
I don't even want to take credit though. I just want to say I know that it was on my head, and I was putting that intent, not just complaining, because there's a difference between complaining about something and setting an intention and trying to make something happen. I
Right.
did that. So yeah, so it's all good. The weather's great now.
Okay, well, shit, that's what's up. See, I'm used to it being cold around this time of the year. In Pittsburgh, it get cold in a bitch here. We have been getting a break with the weather. So today it was like in the 60s. That was some good shit. I went out, got out in nature and everything. And this time of year, y'all, it's really good to be in nature for me because then this is a time where it's nice outside, but all the damn bugs ain't around trying to bite you and shit, eating you up out there in these streets and shit. So, it was a beautiful thing for me. And so I'm just going to enjoy it while we can. But it looks like we've been seeing just a lot of shit, y'all. It's going down out here in these streets. Uh-oh, Sheila in the house. What's going on, lady? How's it going?
Hey, I made it. I didn't want to.
Oh.
I was upset last week. I'm like, I didn't get my notification. I can't.
Oh, I am so sorry. Listen, the link is typically the same. I just
Same.
like,
Okay.
yeah, make sure that people have some idea what we're talking about and everything before they get started and everything. But my bad, I thought for sure that
You
I sent
probably
it out
did. I,
there.
I was just like, wait a minute. So
Right.
I'm here on Thursday. So I just count me in. I'm in here. So I'm
Well,
I'm a, I'm gonna mute my mic because my background doing what it do. But I'm in here. Hey y'all.
hey, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's all love, and you know what I'm saying. I just appreciate y'all being available here to share this space and support this work right here. Um, but I was just looking like through social media, and there's a lot of things that's been going on in the planet, and my dreams have been off the hook too. And for the most part, it's really been looking like for me, like I need to really pay attention to my spending. So I was in, like this old school car and everything, and I was thinking about buying it. And I'm talking to the dude, knowing damn well that, I ain't trying to buy no car, you know what I'm saying? And this type of thing. So I know the spirit was really, speaking to watch frivolous spending, buying shit you don't need. I got this compulsion to like show up to thrift shops and treasure hunt and shit like that. And I don't need none of that shit. And so, right now I'm at a point where I'm doing some feng shui. We've been studying that and self-invested and really coming up with a game plan because I'm a bit of a person, I accumulate shit, you know what I'm saying? And then I find a way to situate it just so. but I do know that I get an abundance of things and I need to start shedding out some of that shit and everything. And I got to be real thoughtful and mindful of those things that I'm giving away, as opposed to those things that accumulate, because I'll fuck around and y'all see me on Hoarders if I don't check my hat at the door. And I know this is a pathology that's in my family. I notice I go visiting my relatives and shit, and I look around like everybody in our, we like shit. We likes our shit in our family, and everybody has a lot of stuff, and it may not be like that hoarding situation, but you can see that there's potential for that if that ain't checked, periodically. So definitely. We were just talking about like some of the dreams, and Goddess Rah has some very powerful dreams out here. And of course, we know this is Pisces season. So, you know what I'm saying? This is that whole realm of the dreams and everything. When the sun's there today, the moon's in Cancer. And so, today for me, I'm a Cancer moon. And so this energy was definitely all about like, spending time close to home, connecting with family, doing things that really nurture me and things like that there. And so I definitely took heed to watch to the dream that I had last night about watching my spending and all of that other stuff. Then I went and checked in with the spirit animals, which is definitely in alignment. The seahorse came up. And when the seahorse comes up, he's telling you to watch what it do. Watch and wait what happens. And this is a time where we can look and start noticing, as not only are we in Pisces season, let me just go there, because there's a lot of shit that's about to go down right about now. We already know spring is in the air, it's coming, we on our way, so everybody's getting their house in order and whatnot and everything. But specifically this full moon that's coming up in Virgo, that's all about the details and addressing that shit, right? But then we got Saturn. This is a generational planet. Saturn is moving into Pisces, and this is going to be that whole energy of karma. And this is an opportunity for us to really start making shit happen for ourselves. And so this is going to be that pivotal energy that's really going to start showing up. So then, hold up, let me say, because I wrote down these notes here. The killer whale came through, and the seahorse, and I was definitely equating those, like, because of Piscean, that whole sea energy and whatnot and everything. And this is all about like connecting with soul groups, soliciting participation and cooperation from those individuals that may be able to assist you. This is also letting you know, when the killer whale shows up, that we really need to pay attention to how we're communicating. One of the other animals that's been like notoriously showing up, and I noticed one of the priestesses had that channel as well, was the eagle this week. And when that eagle shows up, that's some gangster shit. We already know the spiritual awakening. The spiritual awakening, so much shit. People seeing new planets out here in these streets, even CNN. I said, they got to be getting us ready for some shit that's going down, because even CNN is identifying this new planet that's coming out. And there's some other cats that got different thoughts on that and everything out in the street. I ain't really get that message, but I do remember having a dream where I saw a planet up in the sky. Once, this was years ago though. So this is like really exciting, and I'm gonna keep my eyes and ears open for any of that. But the eagle comes through letting you know that we need to really begin taking advantage of opportunities that may present itself for us. This is also the energy of new beginnings. This is also letting us know, when we see the eagle, it's definitely time for us to rise above that petty, mundane shit that's out here in these streets. Sometimes the devil be in the details and everything. And this is also letting us know about how life is beginning to speed up. And so that energy that we put out there, whether it's positive or negative, it's definitely going to show up for that ass. Please believe it. And so this is why I thought it was so profound, because when I went to pull my card, I got the 10 of Swords. And the Ten of Swords energy is all about betrayal and loss and painful endings. And when we experience that type of energy, we wonder if we can ever trust again. Ten of Swords energy is really that how we pick up after all of the shit that went down. We done been through a change or two. We done been through some betrayal, some energy vampires in these streets and shit like that. We done been through financial ruin, sadness. We feel exhausted, like giving up. And the energy is just really right for that at this particular time, it seems to me. But it also cautions that we watch out for that victim mentality, right? Because we start getting into this, all this shit's happening, woe is me, it's all fucked up, and this and that and the other. And so when that ego was showing up, really letting us know that that energy we put out, whether it's positive or negative, is speeding up and it's returning to us. I thought, wow, this is super profound, because that Ten of Swords energy, how you process that shit, can determine your next cycle, the energy, the lessons that you learn, and it'll determine whether or not you learned the lesson and you go do better, or if you go repeat the same lesson over again until you catch it. So this is just a powerful time. I wanted to ask, just bring this to the table. Has anybody ever gone through a Ten of Swords moment where you went through a change, where you felt tired, where you was in some type of relationship with energy vampires?
Ooh. Of course, honey. Of course. You know, we've talked, and I told you about the surgery that I had. I mean, I was going through it then, and at the same time right now, you know, I have in the middle of this divorce. So right now I'm to the point to where I've already been as far down as I am going. So there's nothing else that is really going to trigger me or get me to that point again. Like I'm just going up. I'm just ready for everything else is just working its way out. I'm good with all of this. I'm good with every single part of it. I have no issues with it. And I have just been learning to know how to move through it. Because I've seen the finish line and I've seen what that looks like. So now I have to remember and stay focused on, okay, I've already been shown what that looks like. So just stay focused when things come up and people, you know, I get triggered. I mean, I'm just learning how to flow through it. Remember, it already looks like this. So, you know what? Stay focused. How do you want to flow through this? How do you want to react? How do you want to flow through it? How are you going to do this? Because you already know where it's going. So don't screw the journey up. Just work with the journey and keep moving.
Right. Make it, you know what I'm saying? A downstream swim instead of up.
Yes.
Yeah. I can definitely dig that. And then, you know what I was thinking about too, you know, sometimes we get into these connections and we don't really anticipate it, or it's not really necessarily intentional, right? I remember when I used to work at a hospital many moons ago. And I would notice that a lot of it, there would be a cat that would get sick, or, you know, a husband or a wife, or vice versa, however that went. And one of them would get sick. And I would notice the caretaker. It was this woman, she would come in there and she was taking care of her husband, and he was getting kidney dialysis and shit like that and everything. And she'd be in there wheeling him into dialysis on a daily basis and everything. That shit can tax on a person. And fucked around, it ended up that the son was in there wheeling. I said, well, what happened to your wife? How's she doing? He was like, oh, she passed away.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, because we got to, you know what I'm saying? And these are some things that we got to really watch. We got to take care of ourselves. We got to really make sure that we're not giving so much of ourselves that we don't got nothing left we don't have nothing left for us, you know?
Exactly. And yes. because yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I damn near died doing that, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. That shit could kill you, man. And
Yes,
it's
it
crazy.
can.
It's crazy, you know? Because like not only that, that affects your moods, and then you start feeling like physical discomfort. And I remember I used to have this one person that I used to work with, and we were pretty cool. We go to lunch together, this and that and the other. You know what I'm saying? We know talk to each other on the phone at that particular time. You know, those seasonal friends, right? And a lot of times, like this was one of those individuals that would always like be going through a change. There would always be a crisis. It would always be some type of a situation, you know? And it seemed like sometimes when I would talk to her, like after I get done, I'd be tired. You know what I'm saying? Just like exhausted, tired. Like I get off the phone with her, I be tired. We come back from lunch, I'm ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired, you know? And this was before I knew what the term energy vampires was. You know what I'm
I can relate.
saying?
Yes.
And listen, and here's the thing, like I've learned now to really to find ways to protect my energy so that that doesn't happen, because I'm one of those individuals that, you know, that would routinely happen to me, and so I would find myself kind of isolating myself and whatnot and everything. But when you notice that you're in those types of relationships, what are some things that we can do that's effective, or what are some things that you have done that's been effective in protecting your energy? Because people, we know that everybody ain't really enveloped in a spiritual practice. They don't have consistent rituals or routines and shit like that. And some people, they just navigate these streets and shit's just happening to them, and they ain't making no connections. You know what I'm saying? And then they look for guidance, and it becomes draining. What are some things that we can do as those individuals that's out here trying to assist people? What can we do to help so that we don't drain ourselves in the process?
I immediately, when I start realizing what's going on, I immediately start calling my energy back. Immediately, as the person is speaking to me and talking, whatever, I immediately start to call my energy back. And I know then in that moment to just be neutral. Be neutral.
Absolutely. That's what I try to do, is not get emotionally invested in that shit. You know what I'm saying? I surround myself with light, you know, and I keep it here, and I try to make sure that my aura is so big, you know, that it can't really, you know, it can't be penetrated and it can't be brought down and everything. I see her, oh, Sheila giving the thumbs up. Her.
You know what? It took me a minute to learn to give of myself. You know, I'm a giver, right? And then I had to learn about reciprocity and things like that, and the manner of which it would be beneficial. But even with being a giver of time, self, information, knowledge, whatever, I had to learn to only give from the overflow, right? So when my cup is full, every drop of that shit is for me. I can only give the overflow. That's it. So this is why I have these introverted ways where I love people, but only if I'm in the overflow, because they will immediately drain, you know, some parasitic energies, knowing and unknowing, right? And so, you know, I understand where people are and I leave them where they are. But in order for me to protect my peace, I remind myself constantly, Sheila, is it from the overflow? Because when you give from the overflow, there's no expectation of anything in return. No, nothing like that. I gave because I had it to give. Actually, it wasn't even mine. I didn't even have any more storage in my cup for it. So when your cup runneth over, that's when I look for people to be like, hey, I'm out here. Up, I'm full. You know, when people be like, wait till their stuff get on empty and then be like, I need to get some gas. Oh, I wait till I get on full. And then I go get the overflow, and then I go share the overflow, because absorbed as I am with learning, growing, I need every bit of me for me.
Absolutely.
Anything extra is what I give. So I don't know how to temper that. So I just temper my appearances. I temper the phone calls, so somebody call and I'm not in my overflow. I don't answer because I literally am in a position where 90% of the time people want this conversation. They want the exchange of energy. And I'm happy to give it when I have it. So I got my boys that are growing up in different things, and I used to be in a cycle of giving so much that I would give from myself, but I realized that no, what I was giving was what I was supposed to give to them.
Right.
What I was giving was what I was supposed to give to my household. So I literally have to, if it has to be from the overflow, and this is how I learned to control my own unorganized self when it came to that. It was really not them so much, but it was me not knowing how to say no, not realizing no is a full sentence, not realizing that, saying I can't isn't a subjection of failure or anything like that. So definitely only from the overflow. Only.
That's real. I know that's real. It ain't nothing like some firm ass boundaries in these streets to shield off these attention hoes sucking up all your energy out here in these streets, but not necessary. And listen, I'm gonna tell you something. There are some attention hoes out here in these streets. Let's not get it twisted.
Oh yeah.
There's also some people that are really in distress out here. And sometimes you're just not in that position. See, and that's how spirit has it. Either there's a lesson for them that they're gonna have to navigate that shit themselves, or somebody else is called for that assignment at this particular time. You know what I'm saying? And being smart enough and wise enough, let's put it that way, smart enough, wise enough to recognize where you're at, that's self-love right there. You know what I'm saying? No doubt about it. Self-love all day. Just to recognize, listen, I ain't got that shit today. You know what I'm saying? I can't take this call. I'll let them go to voicemail. I'll check in at them, tomorrow, some shit, whatever. But just to even going back into that, you ever be around a person, because see, we talking about this whole energy of this betrayal and this deception energy, right? And just really learning lessons from that whole energy, the struggle, the pain, the sadness, the betrayal, financial ruin, all of that shit, right? When we know better, we do better. And so it's really my intention here for us to take our lessons that we've learned and be able to really share them so that people can really move into this next cycle new and improved. You ever be around a person that they ain't really feeling you at the end of the day, but they keep coming the hell around you? You ever had that experience? What if you have, what do you do with that? For me, I had that experience quite often. And I think because, at the time when I was working, the position that I was in, people, just wanted to befriend you because, you know what I'm saying, they thought it was advantageous. You know what I'm saying? However, that people ain't feeling you. They don't really like, you can tell they energy. You read the body language, right? At the end of the day, you realize like there's no real connection there, but they just keep trying to come around you and keep showing up. And you like, what in the hell is you doing this for? And one of the things that I do is I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm really necessarily standoffish, because I done got to the point in my life right now to where if we ain't got no productive purpose with each other and I'm detecting that there's no real connection, I need to ask them at the end of the day, what can I do to assist you? How can I help you? Because I know that we ain't got shit going on. I see Sheila giving the clap sign right there. Because here's my thing. I ain't got time for no fake ass game with people, right? But that shit'll drain your energy when you know you around a resentful. Ain't nothing. I'm gonna tell you something. A resentful motherfucker will get you killed out here in these streets. You gotta watch that shit. You know what I'm saying? You sitting around spending time and holding somebody down that really don't got your back at the end of the day. And as spiritual beings, some of us, you know, we're highly intuitive and we pick that shit up. You can't fool us. We see you. You know what I'm saying? But then there's a lot of us that ain't really paying attention. And so what I would really recommend, so that this doesn't get repeated over and over again, I really recommend that we really start paying attention energetically to people. Because you don't necessarily got to see them. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Once you start really getting laser sharp, like I can pick up people's energy in a fucking text message, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to put it in all caps. You ain't got to put it in all small letters. I don't know. Once I'm connected to somebody, I can just pick up on the energy of that. You know what I'm saying? That's just who I am as a person. However, everybody hasn't really tapped into it that clearly. So then I tell folks, it's time to start really flipping the switch and paying attention. Paying attention. Because people that ain't really feeling you, that eye contact, you know what I'm saying? It hit a little different. They giving you this look. You know what I'm saying? The hard stare. You know what I'm saying? Their body language is tight. You know, they seem to be exacerbated when you have something to say. You can tell on the low, they ain't really appreciating it by the way that their eyes divert when you have something to say or when they say something to you. You can tell when there's not a really genuine connection with that. And I really want to implore people that as we move forward, because see, this is going to save us from the heartache of betrayal. There's some folks, you know who they are. You leave them right the hell where they at. I show them love. I give them a pound. I keep it moving. Hey, what's going on? I love you. All right now. You know what I'm saying? I know at the end of the day, the love is not returned. That's okay. You get to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Pound them up. Uh-oh, Sheila. You know, for real though, we gotta stop playing games out here in these streets, because what we end up doing, and I think, like I said, I'm getting older. I ain't got time for this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? In my 20s, I'd be around the key crew. You know what I'm saying? And we all laughing and bullshitting with each other and everything. And then at the end of the day, it's really this adversarial sword fight type of relationship on the low. You know what I'm saying? Done of those days. I ain't got time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, now I pay closer attention. And it's not that I'm sitting around like eliminating everybody from my circle, you know, but I'm paying closer attention. It's not that I'm holding myself in a space where I've been hurt before, the motherfuckers don't stab me in the back and I ain't got time for nobody's friendship, because it ain't even that cold-hearted approach like that. It's just really using that wisdom now. You can't let nobody, you know what I'm saying? We can't keep repeating these same mistakes over and over again and expect to claim some victory out here. You know, I'm just saying. Let me say, ever get a feeling that somebody that everybody else is digging, they say all of the right shit, they do all of the right nuances and all of that shit, but there's just something that just ain't right about that shit. Something that just ain't connecting well with that person. Do you say something about that, or do you leave it alone? Anybody?
My ass leave it alone.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say that. I mean, I just get quiet and I just observe at that moment. Because if I can't pick up on it, I don't know what it is. I'm just quiet.
Yeah.
You know, because I embrace all of myself, even my fuck shit. Mm-hmm. You know, I've had days, you know, I'm 47, so I went from every facet to every facet. So when I see something that doesn't quite click, I can identify it because it's actually a part of my algorithm. And I'll immediately know, like, oh, that's that bullshit. And I, you know, I go ahead and I don't say anything because that's a part of that person's journey. When I was in my bullshit, it was nothing nobody could say to me at the time because I was fulfilled within myself, including my bullshit. So when I see it, I just be like, oh, yeah, well, I know what that shit is. I'll either laugh at my growth from it. You know what I'm saying? I walk around with a I don't give a fuck about nothing attitude because it doesn't really draw attention. You know what I'm saying? I got this. They be like, oh, your hair is pretty. I'll be like, oh, I ain't even brushed that shit this morning. You know, when you got locks, you can do that. So,
Hey.
you know, that's I love the comfort of the just I don't really give a fuck because, you know, it just for me that's a very effective way to portray the energy when you want to be the person that decides and chooses, you know, who you approach or who approaches you and things like that. So for me, that's how it works. But when I do see people in that manner, like, oh yeah, I know what that nigga on, because I was on that at one point in time. And like I said, at any point in time, when somebody tries to bring some sort of correctedness to me and it's not coming from a place of authenticity, and you know, majority of the people don't know how to be that way, they just know how to be controlling. So when it's not coming from a place of authenticity, nobody's going to really try to hear. And at the same time, you have to be willing to learn. Most people are not even in a position to learn. So how dare me think somebody really want to learn when, you know, they probably just in a position to say, this is what I want to do at this moment. I want to be standoffish like this. It could be a part of their experience or whatever. So I know that the best thing that we can offer humanity is to be who we are and let them be who they are. If it's not affecting my immediate circumference or my nuclear family or nothing like that, and it's just the same fuck shit that I know I've engaged in. And most often, if I can identify fuck shit, I've engaged in it. And I'm well aware of what it is. And that person could be possibly using it for a reason that I have not yet to understand. So me, if it's not for my engaging, I just be like, oh, yep, that's that fuck shit. And I go the other way, you know. I just let it be.
I know that's real, sis. And see, we the same age. And I think that, you know, in time, see me, I personally am definitely I ain't finna say shit. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the show.
Say, oh yeah.
All right. That's what I'm finna do. Now
see how they see what conclusion they come to. Because I know when I was doing it, you know, my conclusion was a certain kind of way. So I'm gonna be like, let me see how they handle this shit, you know.
Let me tell you, one of the social faux pas that I had in my coming of age years is that I used to think that it was my personal duty to make sure that I informed a motherfucker that I saw them a mile away. Not necessarily that particular person, see, but it made me look almost like a gossip. But you know, it is what it is, huh? And I would feel, hey, you know, this is a fake bitch right here, huh? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know this dude is running game, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I felt that it was my class was always in session, you know. But one thing that life has shown me, because I'm 47 too, in my years, life has shown me that sometimes it's best to leave shit alone.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes it's best to leave shit alone.
I'm wearing a cage, nigga.
Hey guys, come on with the dog. I don't want everybody hearing you now. But yeah, it that's how it was in the office for me, you know, mostly in the office at work. When I had those experiences, and you know, is in high school, it was what it was. I didn't really go to college to learn. I was playing games, so I was there for the fuckery. But in the work environment, you know, I like you, I had to learn, like, don't nobody care if that's the fake bitch or not. She's the one that gives the promotions. So they finna dance and sing and buck dance because they want those promotions. Absolutely. Don't nobody care that this survey is really not mandatory. They don't care that it's bullshit. So when I had to learn, like you, to save my words. So I'm a very few words, but the few words that I do say, I do want them to be full of wisdom. Because like you, listen, I ain't got time to be talking about a whole book of things that's generally not gonna do anything but give you fuel to say she be over there talking about people.
Yep.
You know, because that's all it really is. You know, when people be like, well, did you hear what she said? And I'll be like, well, what did she say? And they be like, well, she said this. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's what she said.
Right.
You know, you're not going to masturbate me for an opinion. You're
Right.
not going to do any of that. You know, you asked me, did I hear what she said? So tell me what she said. You
Right.
tell me what she said, and I'm going to be like, well, then I guess that's what she said. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you can hear the underlying agenda of what you really want. But if you really want something from me, you're going to use the right words to get the direct answer. You're going to ask me the right question instead of the bait and pull and switch. Like, did you hear what she said? When really what they want to say is, tell me what you think about what she said. But they didn't say that. So unless you come to me with directness and you want a direct answer, you're going to have to come to me with a direct question.
Right.
And so since people don't know how to communicate in that way, they want to give you the roundabout. I give their ass the roundabout, you know, because I'm respecting you by responding, and I'm giving you what you gave me, which is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So you give it to me, I will give it back to you. That's even trade, you know? And if it keeps engaging in that moment, I got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
I gotta, I got some stuff I need to finish up.
Absolutely. I got shit to do.
Man. And
the
older we get, the easier it is to say, man, fuck that shit. I can't wait to get 70 because you know them old people be like,
my goodness. You heard. I'm trying to tell you, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. When in my younger years, see, this is as I get older, I do realize that my perspective is shifts over and over and over again. And one of the things that I noticed in my younger years is that just like most children, you share a laugh with somebody, and that's your friend. You have a good time with them, and that's your friend. But as we get older, that looks a little bit different. But this is how we end up in these situations where we end up experiencing pain, sadness, betrayal, and shit, and feeling all exhausted and wore out, like we want to give up at the end of the day, and we don't want to be bothered with folks no more because we done been hurt so many times. Let me ask y'all a question, because this is subjective. It really is. I mean, everybody sees this differently. What is a friend really?
I'm gonna let y'all answer that, and then I know I gotta answer this. But Dante, come on, my man, where you at?
Hey, listen, because I'm gonna dive on in. You know what? Here's my thing.
Hello.
Yeah. What's up, Brother Dante? I'm up here. I'm asking a totally subjective question. There's no right or wrong answer to that. Is what is a friend?
Oh yeah. I heard the question. It's
okay.
Someone you have a relationship with, which isn't tied to you by blood, that you share. Relationship, the word, the root word or whatnot is relates. So people that you can relate to that are not your family members. So that's why you gotta change. You gotta come with a term like soul family to show that this ain't just friends. Like, because friends has end in an END, so that's a curse. I mean, a spell by itself. That's in the spelling. So I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much my like people you can relate to and are on the same frequency as you.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't got too many friends, so put that out there too.
Yeah, I know. Me neither, Dante. And
I don't really.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking folks, what does that really look like? Because at this point in life, I have lowered my expectations. You know, I don't really know for sure what they can be. I know what they can't be. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so it's all really the words are spells, and they kind of trip people up, like
Yeah.
everybody, including me, because there's frequencies and all that within the numbers.
Right.
So excuse me. So I feel like friend is almost a horrible word. Maybe they should have spelled it different. I'll
Mm,
be asking questions like, why do they even in English put silent letters in any word whatsoever? Like, why didn't you spell phone with an F instead of a PH? And it's
mm,
because they're intentionally putting changing the frequency of phone by putting a PH. It looks different. Just if you look at phone with an F, it look different. That's not how you spell phone because you were
mm.
taught that. And that's true. And that's not how you spell phone because
Right.
that's not the way whoever was designing these words or coming up with this language collectively. Uh, yeah, I just found out English just got like there wasn't no J for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So why so
Yeah.
why would you put a J in there? So whoever was doing this, I feel like had some like occult knowledge,
Mhm.
obviously, because this is casting spells.
Absolutely.
So
Guess what, Dante? They
what's up?
wasn't your friend. They wasn't your friend.
No, they was my friend because it ended. So like that's why I say I don't trip off the word. Like I got if a like it never ends when a person is your real friend. I feel like it never ends. Like it's different for like
Mm,
my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend.
mhm.
It's on her that
You blanked out, Brother Dante. But he was definitely dropping some wisdom with the what is that called? I
The etymology of the word, the friend.
etymology of the word. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of that shit for nothing. Absolutely. Breaking that shit the hell down. And that's definitely something to think about because at the end of the day, you can sit back and you can come up with all of these expectations. But what I've learned in time is that what it ends up doing is setting you up for disappointment. What I know for sure is what you can't be. You can't be a stupid motherfucker and be a friend of mine. I don't do stupid. I'm gonna tell you, stupidity is dangerous. We live in a world that celebrates stupidity. I see, but and the more stupid and outrageous you are, the more celebrated you are. But you got to be able, in order for me to consider you as one of my friends. You got to be wise and you got to have just enough up here to see through the bullshit in these streets, man. I can't take up space with folks like that. And you know what? But like I said, friendship, what it looks like, that's subjective. Some people will look out for the stupid motherfuckers. It ain't me. I ain't got time
Yeah.
for that shit. You know?
Friendships, from how I've experienced them, they've always been seasonal, right? And
Mm,
a lot of people determine friendships by the length of time that you've had a friend.
right.
um a girl I went to school with since seventh grade, we've had communications all the way up and through until we've had children, and we have these communications. But and she got married, and she wanted me to be her maid of honor or matron, whatever you call that shit. And so I was just like, I said, well, how did you come to that determination? And she was just like, well, you're my best friend. I said, well, what makes me the best? Because we were the longest. I've known you longer than you've known them. I said, because to be honest with you, if you look at the dynamic, and I had to be so raw honest with her because this is, the only reason why we can communicate. To be honest with you, we only communicate when you call to share your problems. And I
Mm,
said, and I don't mind you know, I said, this ain't no shield on you. I said, now, do I call you with my problems? And she was like, no. I said, so I've always been that type of support for you because generally we have a trauma bond that we've had for all of these years. I said, but we don't go out together. We don't do things that would, you know, you would consider friends do. You don't even come by and visit. And again, no shade. It's
Right.
just I want you to really acknowledge what it is that we have. I said, now, me, I don't want to be tied to a title of a best friend because whoever my friend is in the moment, that person is the best because of it's in that moment,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with years. It has nothing to do with that. But I also understand that things are seasonal. You know, I've had some of the best friendships that lasted only a season. And just as quick as I embraced them, was just as easy to let them go. Still think about them in my memory, my repertoire, still extend love to them. And then I have some of the friendships that transcend time and distance. I have a girlfriend who I don't talk to for years at a time, but when we call, be like, bitch. You know, we put it down like that. So, you know, for me, friends are in the moment, right? And however that, like you said, is subjective. Whatever that definition of a friend is for you, you embrace that in the moment. Outside of the moment, everybody is compromisable. I'm your friend, but if I have to save my children's life and they got a gun up to my head or something and saying I got to turn you in or something, guess what? I'm turning your ass in, so I'm compromisable. Nobody should ever think that nobody is uncompromisable at any given moment. So again, a friend is a friend to me in those moments, right? Understanding those epithets, I would expect her to do the same thing. You know, like that's real talk. Sisterhoods don't even have like, you know, you get into these conversations and you know the deepest thing about the deepest person to the point that they could even destroy you. They could destroy your marriage when you share these type of intimacies. And
Right.
so you respect the fact that they're holding space for you and caring for you in that manner of not exercising those epithets, then this is what you call somebody more than a friend. Now you're respecting that person for not destroying you every day. You're respecting them for how they're holding space for you in the care and how the information that you share with them never comes back full circle, kind of thing like that. So it goes to, for me, I have a friend that I went to respecting in one way to now respecting in another way for what she doesn't do. And it's you know, my journey with understanding how that goes, you know.
That's powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Real talk right there.
I got knocked off. My bad. I don't know
It's
where I
all
left off.
good, brother. It's all
But it
good.
looked like we out of time anyway, and I don't want to run the time out like I always do because I don't pay attention to time that much.
I,
So yeah.
I
So my
gotta
bad.
make sure I'm respecting that time. That's all. I'm making sure that I'm respecting people's time. People got shit to do and they show up and hold space here. So I want to make sure that I'm definitely respectful of that. So I do appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and bring in because I pulled some cards on these to get a little bit more wisdom from spirit and ask spirit. I called on the Archangel Gabriel. Shout out to Archangel Gabriel. That helps me to really be able to get a clear and intuitive channel so that I can really deliver what spirit is saying and not what Shakesha is saying, because I will fuck you up. Anyway, so we talking about this Ten of Swords energy, right? And this right here is really all about us finding new ways to cope. I like the Light Seers Tarot deck on here because this is her walking away from a situation, right? And there's all of these little haters hawking all around her and everything. The birds is flying over top of her and all of that shit. But this is about us really persevering after dealing with some betrayal, some friendly enemies, some vampires, some setbacks and shit like that. But our challenge was the King of Pentacles. And when the King of Pentacles comes up, it's about us being grounded in our understanding. We know that the King of Pentacles is about getting that bag and making sure we focusing on our money. And we ain't sitting around, the challenge is that I'm broke and I ain't got my money right. The challenge is when the King of Pentacles energy also comes in and lets us know that we got to be grounded and understand human nature. And we got to catch the lessons that life has shown us. This is that grounded energy that helps us to be realistic in our expectations, right? And then if we don't do that, we sit around and we be in this negative, this low vibration, and that fucks with our money. And so when the King of Pentacles come up, it's definitely about, you see this rich man, he's sitting there and he's settled in his ways and everything, but that's because he understands the game. He understands how that's played. And he's able to navigate all of the niggatry that's out here and focus on what's most important at the end of the day. What Spirit is really and truly recommending at the end of the day came up with the Four of Wands. See, we get into this space where we hold these unrealistic expectations and we can't really enjoy our life. Spirit is encouraging us and insisting that we do. This is what's going to raise our frequency up. We shift our vibration when we celebrate our lives, when we recognize that sometimes rejection is protection and divine order is working for us. That helps us to know connections that's not really working for us, for our highest and greatest good. This is blessed assurance at the end of the day. See, and then we ain't worried about the betrayals, the deceit, and the people that's taking an advantage, and the lying, the stingy, the cheating, and all of that shit. That's all here to assist us in our growth, to make us better, not bitter, so that we can move forward and be about the business of catching the victory out here in these streets. Because at the end of the day, the Eight of Wands came through so that we can move with purpose, full speed ahead. See, when we doing all of that shit, we can trust that the victory will be ours. And we on the lookout for opportunities that's here to come. And we go for it without the thought of being deceived and without thinking that it ain't for us, that these folks ain't loyal at the end of the day, because we trust ourselves. We caught them lessons. So now we can move forward and be about the business of seeking out opportunities. And you realize that you can't hold these expectations out here in these streets. At the end of the day, you focusing on what you came here to do. Whatever it is that you came to see, do, feel, have at the end of the day, we trying to make sure we moving more in that direction towards our victory. We got us and we handles our business. That's what it is. Yeah. So are there any things that you guys, so let me see where my time is. Got 3 minutes, Dougie Fresh. Anything that you guys would like to add before we close this cipher out? I want to thank each and every last one of you for showing up, bringing your energy, your wisdom, your insight, your perspective out here in these streets, because we ain't repeating these bullshitting ass lessons over and over again where we feeling some type of way. We came to win. Goddess Rah, did you have something you wanted to say?
I did. There's a message that I received during the this was it? Yeah, this week. I woke up one morning and the thing that I heard was the original never has to compete with copies. And that was it. The original never has to compete with a copy or copies, something like that. But you get what I'm saying. So that's something to think about. We're all originals. So there is no competition with anyone. Absolutely. At any given time, at any place, thing, whatever. There is no competition. We are the originals.
Absolutely.
With our, yes.
That's right. That's right. At the end of the day. So I'm going to hold up. I'm doing some other shit. I'm going to call it the day. Hold up. Let me stop that. And thank you guys for stopping through. Peace and light. Peace and love.
Think about it.
think about it, 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 think about it.